Wednesday, August 23rd, 2017. It all started with a BP Earthwatch video where BP was saying that NASA had recently removed a black square from Google Maps or Google Sky. And the black square had been covering up a section of the star map, and that they had just removed it for whatever reason. And then he cuts to a section of the star map and says, and this is what they were looking at. And they were showing it's a pretty common image, everybody's seen it, but it looks like a star with wings. It's actually a star with a nebula behind it. It gives that impression. It's been there, it's on all the maps, and the thing is that it wasn't covered up. It's been visible on all Google Maps, Google Star Maps, since they started making them in the 50s, or since they started taking pictures in the 50s. But BP, playing off people's fears, and you see that's a common theme. If sex sells the most, but YouTube has certain parameters that you have to fit in to get on there and to produce videos and not get them taken down. You can't have a bunch of sex. You can have some sexiness, but you just can't have a bunch of raw sex. That's what would really sell if you could do that. The next best thing is fear. Fear and sex. I mean, it gets down to the primal or primitive emotions of man. Fear sells. So if you get people afraid, they're going to want to get into it. Fear, and then a subcategory of fear would be suspicion or paranoia. All that stuff sells. And then people want to feel like they know more than what the average person knows, or they got the inside scoop on something. That's going to sell too. You'll see the common themes. Anyway, so BP comes out with this video saying, look, we've got the real image here. It's been hidden for so long. Turns out he was showing two different images on the video he had. And all this, you could have seen this if you were paying attention. You could see this, but he knows that most people aren't paying attention. They want to be afraid. They want to find some inside stuff. So you go to one part of the map, and then there's the black square he's talking about, which there's a whole reason for why that black square is there, but I won't go into that. And then he'll go to another image of that star with the nebula behind it, which looks like a winged planet, or of course Nibiru. And he says, this is breaking, whatever. That got my attention. I'd always been kind of conspiracy theory nut, really into it, really trying to figure out what's going on since the early 90s. Back in the day, a friend of mine was really into that kind of thing before it was big, before the internet was big, and studies in Albert Pike and the Freemasons and symbolism and everything. So this goes way back. But anyway, so I think it's 2014 or 15, BP comes out with this, and then the same day or the next day, this guy named Waptec debunks the video, and I debunk Waptec, or try to debunk Waptec. He sounded like some college kid that didn't put a whole lot of thought into the video he was making, so I thought, it seemed like, oh, come on, at least try. So I gave him some shit, and he came back and gave me some shit, and in the next video, or in another video, I don't really remember, but he got my attention, and I thought, wait a minute, he's right. I went and looked up everything. So then I go find this guy Waptec's videos, and he's totally not looks like the person I thought he was going to be. Start listening to him a little bit, and that's how I came to know who Waptec was, and really started second guessing everything up until that point. Everything is a lie, but this time it's like it's flipped, because you're following the conspiracy theories. You're really into the 9/11 conspiracy theories, and Nibiru, Planet X, aliens, um, secret government, underground bases, that kind of thing, and you're like, wow, everything we know, we're all being lied to, and all these other things are true. Turns out it's no, it really is boring. Life is really boring. There's no Planet X. There's no real evidence of aliens. There's no, I mean, there might be underground bunkers. I don't know, but everything's pretty boring. But as far as like conspiracy theories go, if your life is boring, that's your own fault. If you can't find excitement and an adventure in life without having to make it up in front of a computer screen, then you got problems. Anyway, so now I'm all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, this is a bunch of crap. I thought I'd been lied to by mainstream media, and so I was going along with the truther movement. Turns out that seemed like about 80% of the truther movement had become the liar. It started out innocent enough in the 90s and everything. You had Waco, Ruby Ridge, Oklahoma City. I saw a video about Waco that showed muzzle flashes where there shouldn't have been muzzle flashes. Um, the FBI released the FLIR video that, so you could see what the helicopter was seeing as it was flying around the compound. There were hot spots where there shouldn't have been hot spots, and it looked, and I kind of still believe that they did burn those people out. So anyway, but the truther movement went from let's find out what's really going on to when YouTube came around and said, hey, every time somebody watches your video, we'll send you a dollar, or whatever it is, a penny for every 10 videos, whatever the breakdown is. You can get paid for people watching your videos. Well, what are you going to put on YouTube? Well, like I said, I mean, you could put a little bit of sex on there or sexiness, but that, you can just go straight to straight porn page to get that. What you really need is thousands of people to watch your channel. So make the most outrageous claims you can. Reptilians come into mind. David Icke. Everything when YouTube comes around, 2007, 2009, that era, everything is amplified. And so, again, that's why Wabtec calls them half-truthers, because it is half-truther. It's the truther moniker. You get the truther, I'm a truther. Well, it turns out you're full of shit, but you're getting paid, and that's the main thing for these people. So then there becomes this new wave of truthers. All right, and I guess, I don't know. For a while, I called it capital T truth, because it was the truth about the truth. So, yeah, it gets complicated. Anyway, so I'm watching Wabtec, getting into his stuff, and around this time, I think it was the summer of 2014 or 15, there's this other guy, Logan Running, and man, he is cracking me up. He reminds me of David Lee Roth. He has a great show. He does a like a 1 hour little show every once in a while. There were other guys involved at the time, but it was really fun. It was fun to watch this stuff and listen to his show, and Wabtec would be on there every now and then. It was great. And there was this Dark Skywatcher, Dark Skywatcher 74, and he had come into the crosshairs of Logan for whatever reason. I mean, if you go back and you look at the history of Dark Skywatcher, and he's got all kinds of videos, or there are videos about him on the internet about what he did. The main thing I think people have a problem with him is he had people sending him money. He was asking people for money, and then he had these shows. Hold on a second. Some ice. He would just film the sky, and they were looking for UFOs. They were looking for anything out of the ordinary. He had people sending money, and then he had a raffle. He had some type of telescope, really nice telescope. I'll try to get pictures of it, but he said he was gonna, you send in your money and you get in this raffle, and he's gonna draw a name, and somebody's gonna win this telescope. Well, everybody starts sending him money. He had this balloon thing. He was gonna, you send him money, and you'll get like, they're gonna send balloons up. And I don't really remember a whole lot about it, but it was all bunk. He kept the telescope. You see it in his videos. He built a shed in his mom's backyard. That was Dark Skywatcher Central or whatever. He had all this stuff going on, and basically he was just taking people's money. Somehow he got Logan's interest. He and Logan started going back and forth. It may have been even earlier than that, when he was called Tree of Might, which I think is some type of magic card. But Logan and him had been fighting, and there's videos about them. I'll try to get that stuff on here too. But they had been fighting back and forth, and this summer, when I had discovered for myself Wabtec and Logan, there was his wife got on Logan's channel, Marissa. Interesting. Mrs. Skywatcher came on the channel, and it was great. She just gave us the skinny on the truth about Dark Skywatcher 74 and what was really going on, and she got into some personal stuff about him that wasn't necessary, but she opened the doors, opened our eyes to what Skywatcher was all about, as far as what was he doing with the money, what did he really believe, did he believe in aliens, did he have any intention of giving that telescope away, how was he racking in money with YouTube. And so yeah, she comes on. So this guy's wife, ex-wife, whatever, there were some legal issues. Anyway, yeah, that burned him up. There were also some other guys that were like buddies of Skywatcher. Hush Puppy is one of them. You've seen him. He's got a bunch of different socks as well. And this is all before I had ever heard of Nibiru 2016, Scott Cohn. I mean, this is all before I'd ever heard of that guy. I think it was before he even got started. There were big shots in the fear porn community. Paul Begley, he has always been around, seems like. Of course, BP, Earthwatch. But in the debunking community, you kind of have your high-end guys. Daz, the cameraman's a high-end debunker. Wabtec's a high-end debunker. And then you got kind of the lowbrow, grungier type guys. And that's what this whole thing was with Logan and Dark Skywatcher. Dark Skywatcher had a big following, but he was no Paul Begley. I mean, and WSO, he wasn't that high up into the whole thing, but he was up and coming. And so anyway, he has Marissa, or whatever her name was, on the channel, and there's this big expose on Dark Skywatcher, and that probably brings us into the late fall of 2015. So anyway, Wabtec, got into Wabtec big time, really got into promoting him. He was getting up to about 1,000 subscribers, and he had issues going with the Dirty Half Dozen. And this is when I learned about them. Dirty Half Dozen and Logan and Daza and Wabtec and Peter Kusk, Cheeky Chops, Ben Time Traveler. This all goes back before me, so I would say that's probably 2014, 2013. And a lot of this came around big time on YouTube at 2012, when everybody was certain the world was going to come to an end, and then when it didn't, they started looking for something else, and that's, they got into the Nibiru stuff. So anyway, you've got the Dirty Half Dozen are constantly trying to shut down the debunkers, and I mean, they're making fat money. This is when YouTube, I'm not sure how they're making money. I'm not sure if anybody's making money now or the big money that they were making. But Daz has got a video up where he explains how it went, how it worked, how he got money per views and stuff like that. If you could get that video and break it down and then plug in the viewership that Scott Cohn has, and then you just kind of get a picture of the money. Like if you were making $12,000 a month, which is what easily one of these low-ring guys could have been making, you could see how paranoid they would start to get and how they would be really serious about shutting debunkers down, because that's big money for doing nothing. I mean, Cohn's videos is usually just a big splash of the name of the video and him just talking. He might throw up a couple things, but he's not putting any time into it. None of these guys really are. But yeah, they for $12,000 a month, yeah, you could quit your day job. You could sit at home and pop out a few videos a day and have plenty of money to pay off a bunch of people to go after debunkers. And the great thing about the debunkers at this time, this is like late 2015, the thing that attracted me to the debunkers was nobody was monetized. If you got monetized, that was not a good thing. You were kind of shunned by the purists. You don't go getting monetized. You don't go putting out fear porn. You don't go putting out clickbait titles. Uh, it was a big deal. It was a big deal to us to keep it pure. And so comes around 2016. Oh, Waptec gets shut down. His channel goes away. It's unfortunate. He had up to 1,000 subscribers. He starts telling everybody, "Hey, guys, my channel's been taken down by the Dirty Half Dozen, and if you know anything about the way YouTube works, there are people at YouTube or YouTube/Google, they have these policies, right? And if you get strikes against you, your videos can be taken down. Well, these guys that have that access can go onto the dark web or black market and sell their services to people for cash, and you pay them a few $1,000s, they can shut this guy down. Okay, that's how it works. All right. There are no real people looking over these videos seeing, is this the only real people that look over videos are the people that are hunting down certain creators they've been paid to shut down. So the winter of 2015 into 16, Waptec's been shut down. He has another channel. He starts putting videos back onto that channel. Sad moment. Anyway, he's back up over 2,000 now. So over 2,000 subs now. So he's built back up, and something's happened to where he's not so easily taken down. At least by today, he hasn't been taken down. So right around this time, 2016, you have a creator called Mari, who comes in, and if you've seen her, she's taken all her videos down. I have her videos. I don't want to put them up because they're real touchy about anybody using their stuff, and I don't want any strikes. But she was a believer in Nibiru, and she worked for WSO, Steve Olson. He gave her a channel. I don't know if it already had a bunch of subs or a bunch of views. She took the channel. One of her first videos was she was talking about how she woke up in the middle of the night and she heard a man's voice say, "I'm coming." And that's kind of funny to me. I mean, Jake wasn't living with her at the time. She attributed this to Jesus Christ. We go into that some other time about people thinking they hear voices, if you hear voices, if you're hearing voices, you need to go talk to somebody right away. There's no way for you to know who the voice is from. People say, "Oh, God told me this. Jesus told me this." Really? How do you know that? Why would Jesus come and talk to you? And is he going to just, if he gets in your head and makes you, quote unquote, know it's him, then do you really know it's him? I mean, when you really start thinking about this whole thing of Jesus talking to me or God talking to me, it gets really crazy. Because if Jesus is telling me to go blow up a building somewhere, would you say, well, that's from Jesus? Well, how could you say it's not from Jesus? And the thing is you hear voices in your head. There is no way for you to know whether that's Jesus or Satan, because Satan shows up. He's an angel of light. He's a beautiful creature. He's a deceiver. If Satan comes to your house, he's not going to pull up in a big red Corvette, get out with huge horns and fire all over him, demons flying out of the car, and he comes walking up to your door and screaming, and he's going to kill you, and he kicks in your door. That's not how it's going to work. He's going to show up. He's going to show up as a preacher. He's going to show up as the greatest thing you've ever seen. He's going to show up as a healer. He's going to come in and tell you everything you ever want to know about yourself. You're going to think this guy is straight from heaven. And that's what Satan's going to do. So when you say, I heard a voice, I'm coming, and then Mari goes on this, she goes more into how she's a born-again Christian, and there's something to this Nibiru thing, and how that gets tied in, and at some point Mari decides that she doesn't believe in Nibiru. She's going to start doing different videos, and she's going to start debunking Nibiru. Now, she's still got this channel, WTF Sky, from Steve Olson. She worked for Steve Olson. She worked for WSO, one of the biggest lying channels on YouTube. I mean, if you know anything about WSO, Steve Olson, I don't have to go into that. You know how just nutty everything is. It's all Nibiru stuff. It's all, don't believe what you see with your own eyes. Believe what I tell you. It's all about, I got a picture of Nibiru, and nobody else on earth saw this, but you have to look at it through my camera, and you see this thing beside the sun, and that's Nibiru. When it's been there for 20 fucking years, and it's not moving, and you can only see it through my camera. That's WSO, and that's who Mari worked for, okay? Then all of a sudden, Mari says, oh, I don't believe in Nibiru anymore. I'm being pulled out of the rabbit hole. I'm going to start debunking it. Okay? So then for the rest of the summer, I start seeing her showing up on Waptek's channel, this WTF Sky, and she's got some good points. She speaks well. I thought, oh yeah, that's cool. And I didn't follow WSO. I wasn't into trying to debunk him. But apparently, and I didn't know her connection. Okay, so then the summer of 2016, she's starting to get into the community more and making videos more debunking Nibiru. And towards the fall of 2016, I start noticing this guy, Jake Riley. He does a video. I remember he does a video from his car dealership, and he's really hammering on WSO, and he's really pissed off. And I start noticing that maybe there's this movement in the community where people are going to start working together. People are going to start, the debunkers are going to pool their resources and start working to not necessarily shut down these channels, but to give people an opportunity to get together with people who think the same way. The debunkers as a group had always been kind of scattered. I mean, Dazza has always been awesome. Waptek's always been awesome. Logan's always been awesome. And okay, I know Logan, he's a loose cannon, okay? But that's exactly what we need. Nobody can do his job. And I've heard recently from one of these cats that Logan, who's Logan? I remember when I was telling people about Waptek and Logan, when I got involved in the community, they didn't know who they were because they weren't paying attention. They were stuck. They were basically working for WSO. I mean, why would they know who Logan Runnin is and who Waptek is? Anyway, so then you've got the fall of 2016 towards Christmas. All of a sudden, Jake Riley and Mari are together, or Jake Riley and WTF Sky are working together around Christmas. They start doing songs together, making fun of WSO. And now Nibiru 2016, Planet X, Scott Cohn. All right, he had come in during the summer of 2016. He became a target, and you start hearing about a group called Troll. You start seeing videos coming out from a group of people that banded together, Truth and Reason over Litany and Lies. And then you got WTF Sky, Jake Riley, and everybody's getting together, having hangouts and everything. Everything looks legit. Looks like there's this grassroots group of debunkers are pooling their resources together and are going to become a front against these lying fear porn creators. And you have New Year's, comes and goes. And I remember I turned on a channel. It was a live chat, and Jake and Mari together in the same room. And so now they're like a couple. And it was, it was great. It was like, oh, it's so sweet, you guys are together, right on. And then a couple days later, they were back on, and I hear Mari say, well, we don't associate with Troll anymore. And I put out there, I said, what do you mean by we don't associate with Troll? And it got ignored. They didn't say anything right away. But knowing her as I do now, I would say that she was throwing out the chum, like when you're trying to catch sharks, you throw out a bunch of guts and blood in the water and get the sharks fired up and everything. That's what she was chumming with little comments about, oh, we're not part of Troll, but I don't want to talk about it. Finally, so they start talking about it. There's this big controversy within Troll, and we don't want to be a part of that. And they're talking about how Troll are using immoral tactics, and then this whole idea of doxing comes into it, and they don't want to be a part of that anymore. And so at this time, I was looking into it, and this is just my perspective on things. This is just what I saw. Mari said she's going to put together a documentary on an eye-opening documentary of what's really going on. So I thought, okay, well, you gave us fair warning, and I encourage everybody, get your story out. What happened? What did you see happen? What's your perspective on this? So anyway, this is just my perspective. It was at that time when they said they weren't a part of Troll, when they had left Troll and they didn't like their tactics. That's when the first red flag came up for me about what they were doing, because I started researching them. I thought, man, these Christmas videos they're doing are great. They've got skills. These guys are great. And then I start finding out, oh, they both worked for WSO. Okay, that's weird. They both used to work for WSO. They both got pulled out of the rabbit hole, and now they're together in the same apartment as a couple. And now they're turning against people in the community. And I thought, what does that sound like? It doesn't take a lot of stretch to the imagination to see that what was happening, what they were doing. And I made comments to people. I said, you know what? Don't trust Jake and Mari, because what they're doing is they're still working for WSO. All right? But if you're WSO and you are you've got this fear porn empire, the only thing that can hurt your empire is another empire, an empire that's the opposite of you, an empire of truth and light. If that happens, they can start hurting your income by debunking the videos that you're creating. So the best way to defeat something like that is to create the empire yourself. That way you control the opposition. If you can establish a truther, debunker community that has the image, they portray an image of we're debunkers, we're fighting WSO and Scott Cohn. If you can create that, you can control what gets done in that. And you can say, Well, go after Scott Cohn, but don't go after WSO. Okay? Don't talk about Paul Begley. You know, you can kind of focus your energy wherever you need to focus your energy and you can be in control. You're hedging your bet. It's just like the housing market. You know, it's just like the guy that went out there and said, hey, I want to buy insurance. I want to invest in the housing market, and then I'm going to buy insurance that's going to cover my butt when the housing market falls. And the more I buy into the housing market, the more obviously to everybody, the more I put into the housing market, the more chance it has to fall because I'm going to build up this big bubble. But I have it hedged because when it falls, I get paid. So I get paid on the way up, I get paid on the way down. It's exactly what was going on with the debunking community in the winter of 2006. It's what's been going on for the last year. Is the dirty half dozen who's in charge of all of it. You might as well just put them at the top. You know, just put, you know, it's Darth Vader and the Emperor, and they're at the top, and then they got all these little minions, you know, and we'll get to one of them, one little scaly Bosk, the bounty hunter minion. But yeah, that's what's going on. They're hedging their bet. They're creating Truth or Light. They're creating a talk show that will have highlights on different members. Here's Waptec, and he's against the fear porn. And this week we have Steve Olson, and maybe he's just misunderstood. What do you think, folks? So now you're not just getting the hardcore paranoid people in their basement staring at the computer, afraid that Nibiru is coming. They're watching every video. They're helping you get the word out on your channel, and you're raking in all that money. But on the other side, on the hedge, you've got people that are kind of sitting on the fence, that are into the community but haven't taken a stance one way or the other. So you're getting that money, you know, so you're trying to get all the money. And that's exactly what was going on. And so they came in, you know, they came in firing at WSO, they came in firing at Scott Cohn. They get together, they become an established couple. They get in with Troll. I was a member of Troll. They tried to control Troll. They basically wanted to make Troll WTF Sky. I mean, you know, Troll wasn't going to be pushed around. Troll didn't really have a center. I mean, I don't know. My whole thing with Troll, you got to remember, I went in the Troll, I got fucked by Troll. And I left Troll. And, you know, you can have your own opinion about what happened there. I'll go into it a little bit. But, you know, Troll was doing the right thing. Troll was getting together, putting the resources together, like everybody else, trying to be one front against the fear porn industry. So when Mari and Jake get into Troll, and Troll doesn't do exactly what Mari and Jake want, then all of a sudden they're done with Troll. They're not going to do anything with Troll. I mean, you got Mari and Jake, who had Lisa Olson on, talking about her personal life, talking about what Steve Olson's doing to her. There were some issues here with Logan Runnin. Nobody talked about Logan Runnin. I never heard Mari and Jake talk about Logan Runnin. They even came out and said, "Who is this Logan Runnin guy?" All right, so they really weren't paying a lot of attention to what was going on in the community. They were only paying attention to what was going on with their channels, WSO, Scott Cohn, and what they were doing. All right, and what their mission was, which was basically to hedge the bet. Hedge the bet. Come in, run a flanking maneuver, get all the debunkers in one spot, and slowly cook the frog and make it a Truth or Light, half truth. Maybe not, maybe, you know, maybe Nibiru's here. All right, we're going to let that go. Now we got, okay, there's Ice Age coming. All right, and we'll get to that. So they leave Troll. There's this huge controversy. I go in the Troll, and Troll basically says, hey, you need to share this, you know, this whole thing about Jake and Mari wanting to come in and subvert the community and kind of be like the Uber spies that come in. They make this new type of channel that's not debunking or fear porn. It's kind of in the middle of the gray area. So they want to get that many more views. They monetize their channel at this time. Um, and Troll comes to me and says, "Hey, why don't you need to get this? You need to let Logan run and know." Because they knew I was friends with Logan. I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I should let Logan run." And I knew as soon as I let him know, he was going to come in firing because he is, regardless. I don't care what you think about the guy, like personally or whatever. Or, I mean, you don't know anything personally, and the name that's out there, it's not his name. Uh, but all right, so this guy Logan is hardcore debunker, brave, putting everything on the line, just like Waptec. Troll has me come and let Logan know, kind of on the sly. Hey, look at what Mari and Jake are doing. They came into our community and now they're starting to kind of turn it, and we think they're still working for WSO. Well, about this time when Lisa Olson went on WTF Sky, it became known to everybody. I knew about it the day that it happened. That Logan's the one that reached out to talk to WTF or to Lisa Olson. Logan running, he was going to do the same thing he did with Dark Skywatcher's wife. He's going to go talk to Steve Olson's wife, get her on the channel, do an interview with her, and expose him through his wife, just like he did Dark Skywatcher. So Mari and some help, Mari and Jake with some help, Jamari, they get to Lisa Olson first. They don't contact Logan. They don't work with Logan at all. They want the scoop themselves. They want it all themselves. They go in, they get her on live, and boom, they get it all out there, and Logan loses it. He's pissed because they didn't give him any credit. And all they had to do was say, "Hey, we tried, or at least get a hold of Logan and say, hey, we're going live with Lisa Olson, and we want you to be involved because we just happened to get her to agree, but we want to get you, we want to show respect." And they didn't do that. They didn't even contact him. They saw the opportunity. They were like, "Oh, well, we'll take that. We'll take that for our new show, our new Fear Porn Light show." So Logan gets pissed. Troll says, "Hey, go to Logan and let him know about your theory about how they're still working for WSO and they're just trying to make this gray area to get more views, to get all the views." And I did, and sent him the email, and then Logan gets fired up, and then you got Logan and Jake are firing back and forth. Jake making the trash videos, and I'm finding, I'm in with Troll, and basically, making videos, and created a Troll channel, and came up with a logo. And everything's going great there. Basically, the bottom line with my thing with Troll was I felt like I wasn't being listened to. I was just kind of like, yeah, we'll take your videos you make, Galactic. We'll take the videos, and that's great. Put them up there, and I had a beef with another person, and I mentioned it in Troll, and I kind of got like, whatever, dude. And I just thought, and I went off and I left. And I still stand behind the fact that I don't know who Renee Padilla, Jerv, Simon Says, whatever that entity is. To me, I don't know who that is. All right, after what Renee Padilla did by, he came in, he said, "Hey, go talk to Logan." Okay, I'll go talk to Logan, and then this bomb drops on the community, and all of a sudden, Logan's like, "Hey, you guys are working for WSO," and then everybody's pissed off because there's been some kind of agreement. We're not going to go attack personally in Troll. We're not going to do the personal thing. And then all of a sudden, Renee leaves, and I'm left standing there, and they're like, "What's going on?" And they, I've talked about it before. So basically, I kept my mouth shut. The only person I talked to about it was the Jerv, Simon Says, Yule, what the fuck ever. That guy knew it all. And I told him, I said, but I'm not telling the rest of the people until I hear from Renee, because he's the one that came to me. He's an administrator. He came to me. He gave me this information, or he asked me to do this thing for him, and until he comes back, because everybody's saying sometimes he leaves. He leaves for a while. He never came back. He never talked to me about it. He never came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm sorry." He never apologized for leaving me holding the shit bag. So there's that. So at this time, though, all right, we're talking about what's going on in the community, and you've got Logan and Jake are fighting. You've got everybody's attacking Scott Cone. You've got Troll fractured. You got members that go off and create fact or fiction. You got members of Troll that stay. You got Jake and Mari. So you've kind of got, you got Jake and Mari, fact or fiction, Troll, Waptec, Logan Running, Dazza. Everybody more or less fighting against Cone. And at this time you have Phil Rath Mahoney or whatever his name is, which was Jake. He comes out of nowhere, and Sean Hufford, Astronomy Live, get together with getting a record out of Miami, a police record. Phil Rath Mahoney is the one who dropped that. He posted it on his channel. That's when I knew it was Jake, because there's no way that some new person's going to come in, swoop in, and take the hottest information. Astronomy Live's not going to trust some new guy in the community to drop that. But, so, yeah, it was Jake. So he drops the whole record on Cone. The Cone videos start coming out where he's talking to Sean Hufford. Around this time, you have this video shows up one day. This guy's driving down a road, and he's, it's a camera shot of a front end of a car. This guy driving. It looks like he's in the passenger seat. He's like, I'm on my way to Scott Cone's house. I'm going to kick his ass. Enter Nibiru Freedom Fighter. Okay? Right when all this stuff is getting good, and we got some goods on Scott Cone, and we're letting his people know who he really is, this Nibiru Freedom Fighter guy shows up. And he is wild. I mean, he's talking about getting on a road trip to go find Cone, to fight him physically. He starts, his videos start coming out where he's this wannabe rapper with the rosary tattoo, the green rosary tattoo around his neck. You've seen him. He gets on here and he starts talking about how he's going to take down Cone and everything, and he's fired up, and he starts acting all naive. He gets in with Logan. He and Logan and Jake and Mari, they make up. All right, and so now there's real fighting between Troll and Jake and Mari, and I'm a part of that. I'm like, yeah, Jake and Mari still work for WSO, and when Logan joined up with him, I was just like, well, he just doesn't know. All right, but Logan started this Nibiru Freedom Fighter. He's like hanging out with Logan, and then Logan all of a sudden starts calling him the Wrecking Ball, and he nailed it. I mean, it was within 2 weeks of this guy being in the community, and Logan pointed out that NFF was a wrecking ball. That this guy, his whole purpose is to come into the community and just start knocking shit over, and that's exactly what he did. And we let him, because we watched his channels, because he has some relatively good skills at entertaining people. So here comes NFF with his rapping videos, and he pisses Logan off, and then he pisses off Jake and Mari. Jake and Mari come out with their Wrecking Ball videos. It's great stuff. It's kind of cloudy here. He does his whole suicide video, and then his woman gets on there, and then Jake and Mari and everybody basically just makes fun of her, makes fun of him. And I didn't believe his suicide video. It's all part of the same thing. All he wants to do is keep you guessing. All he wants to do is keep knocking tables over. That's his whole purpose. Get the focus off of Cone. We got Cone's record out there, and people are starting to see who he really is, what he's done, what he's doing, and NFF comes in as that was his counter to what we were doing. Get this guy in there and have him just go nuts. So he plays on Logan. Logan calls him the Wrecking Ball, gets him away from him. Jake and Mari working with him, and then all of a sudden they have their beefs and everything, and then kicks him to the curb. He shows up at Troll. And I believe Logan. I believe he's a wrecking ball. I believe he's a total. He totally works for Cone. He totally is here to just wreck what we're trying to do. Sow dissension is what he's trying to do. He's trying to sow dissension within the community, and that's exactly what he did. And that's what he did with Troll. He got in there, and everything was about Jake. And we at Troll at that time, people had their opinions about Jake, but it seemed like people were starting to back away from actually actively attacking Jake. We're going after Cone. We're going after the fear porn artists. And your opinion about whether Jake and Mari are truth light or still working for the Dirty Half Dozen, at the time, nobody really hardly talked about it a whole lot. There were a few of us that did, but it wasn't a big deal. But NFF definitely wanted us to focus on Jake. Everything had to be about Jake. When we were in there, he was like, "No, guys, don't even talk about that. It's Jake. It's Jake." And he's making video, and I mean, just juvenile, everything. Not anybody with half a brain knew what NFF was up to then. They know what he's up to now. So, I'm with Troll, and I'm like, we need to get this guy out of here. NFF is not a part of this group. He's dangerous, and he's working for Cone. So, I start listening to everything and listening to what he's saying in the chat in our Slack or whatever, and basically I come out and say it's either me or NFF. You guys going to have to choose one, because he started saying that I was Jake, and he was saying, and now I think he thinks I'm the Pittman's, but at that time he started saying, "Hey, G4 is Jake." Okay, so I'm like, all right, guys, that's fine. He can say what he wants, but bottom line, right here, right now, either you kick him out or I'm leaving. And I'm not. You don't. There's no deadline or nothing. You do it right now, or I'm gone. And they kicked him out. Everything was cool, and I had my falling out. It was between me and the whole Jerv, Simon Says, whatever that is, Renee Padilla. I put them all as the same person because I think they were. I think they are. And that's the only person in Troll I had a beef with. Me and Tig Hand would scrap, okay? But I think it was because we were both passionate. And I didn't have at the time I was trying to really think, was Jake and Mari really work for WS? So I started having my doubts, and he totally didn't have his doubts. And so he and we had some intensity between us. But I had no issues with anybody. There was another guy. I can't remember his name now. He wasn't in there all the time. He's always got Ohio State shit. He jumped right in with NFF and started attacking me too, saying, "Yeah, man, you haven't said you're not Jake." So whatever. That guy's nobody. He doesn't do anything. But I had no problem with everybody in Troll except for the Simon Says Jerv, whoever that is, because he's a dick, and he was a dick to me, and I was like, dude, I've done nothing but help this group, and you're gonna diss me in front of everybody. And I was just like, at that time, I was like, I'm out. I don't want to be part of this. But that was after I gave an ultimatum, me or NFF. So I got out, whatever, and I started communicating with Jake. Before I left. We started talking, and I said, "Hey, we need to find out what's really going on. What is this all really about?" And I got information. Mari and Jake were telling me, "Well, here's why we left Troll, and here's what really happened, and this guy's telling you this, that ain't really true, and this is what really happened, or whatever." And whatever. I don't care. They're full of shit. They've shown in the last few days that they are exactly what we said they were. Reminds me of that guy in Arizona that got beat by the Bears, and at the press conference, he's like, "They did exactly what they said they'd do, or we knew what was, whatever." They kicked their ass. I got with Jake. We got on a Slack. Me, Jake, Truth Nerd, Astronomy Live. Seemed like there was a couple more. We had a Slack account together, and the purpose of the Slack account, and this is the spring of this year, the purpose of the Slack account was to, uh, if there was any type of rumors going on, that we would be able to talk to each other and kind of squash any rumors that were going on before they blew up. So that's what we had this Slack account. That's about it. Jake and I talked a lot about. He was talking about, I have connections within the legal system, and he had concerns about somebody in the community that had doxed him, and we were trying to figure out whether they came across this information legally or whether they abused their position. Um, but pretty much after I left Troll, I got sick of the whole thing, the whole community, and I just got tired. I just went on to do other things. Stayed away from YouTube. We got all my other channels that have nothing to do with this stuff, and just kind of that's what I did to get my fix. I always listen to WebTech, always listen to Logan. Um, Logan and Jake and Mari all made up. They were all good. They were all good to go. I was good with Jake. I had left Troll. I had made a couple of videos um, about what happened there, and they called me a liar and whatever. The funny thing is that Fact or Fiction is gone. WTF Sky is gone. The only people left are Troll. And I had said in a video that they weren't going to last. Just give it up. And I'm totally wrong. And I am wrong at this point. Um, and to Tig Hand, I was wrong. Jake does work for WSO. Mari does work for They work for the Dirty Half Dozen. WSO, what do you want to call them? They're liars. They're lying to you. Um, so anyway, yeah, Troll, that whole thing. My beef was with Jerv. There's a whole conversation between he and I had personally, and he basically dissed me in the group, and then when I went and talked to him about it, he basically told me to shut the fuck up. Now he's going to say that, oh, you already told us this, these are all lies, whatever, okay? Like I said, Tig, you were right, and everybody else, Mrs. RD, everybody, thought, and whatever the name of your channel is that I can't pronounce, never had a beef with any of you guys. It was between me and that guy, whoever he is. And whatever. You guys are doing great. You're fine. I don't question anybody's motive. I don't like those guys. The Jerv, Renee Padilla, Yule, whatever the fuck he is. I don't like him, and I don't need to deal with him. But the rest of you, I never had a problem with. I still don't have a problem with. And Tig was right. And you all were right that were saying, that Jake is a snake. I was wrong. Anyway, so I left the community, and which brings us up to about 2 months ago, and all of a sudden, Chris Potter is on WTF Sky as a moderator. All right. Chris Potter was kind of on the side. He has I'm talking about the Chris Potter channel. I don't know what his real name is, and for that matter, Jake and Mari, I don't even know if that's their real name. I mean, that's their channel names. So, WTF Sky, whatever. But this Chris Potter channel, I've got videos of him going off, threatening to beat people up, threatening to kill people. He's not real smart. Recently, he's threatened to go to somebody's state and run over them with his rental car. That's threat to kill somebody, and you did it over the internet. It's a felony. And there's no way to cover that up, dude. Anyway, I find Chris Potter is on WTF Sky as a moderator, all right? And rumor had it was that he had something. He and Mari had a relationship, emotional relationship together, and he threatened to hit her or did hit her or something, and harassed her, and there was legal proceedings involved and everything. And now all of a sudden he's on her channel and he's a moderator. And then I start seeing things where Logan has an issue with Jake, and I'm thinking, well, it's got to have something to do with Chris Potter, the big turd in the punch bowl. And I get back on Slack. I mean, the whole summer we hardly talked on there, and uh, he said, "Hey, I'm shutting this down. We're done with the community." I mean, of course, he says that. He said that all the way from April till August that he was done with community, but it never was. Um, I was like, "All right." There's a whole Lee Wheelbarger and the Grand Solar Minimum stuff that I was going to go after, and then when I left Troll and Jake and I started talking, I decided that, well, I'm not going to go after that because I don't want to ruin my friendship with Jake. Things seem to be going well, and that's not that important to me. And now that I see that Jake, how he is now, how Mari is, how we were all right, that we were all correct in our assumptions of what they were doing, they've pretty much admitted it now that they have no interest in debunking. They're going to promote their channel, Grand Solar Minimum. They've come right out and said, don't believe NASA, don't believe mainstream news. They tell you the same thing that Scott Cohn is telling you. Fear porn guys will tell you, don't believe your own eyes, don't believe NASA, don't believe mainstream media, believe me. Okay? Now, Scott Cohn does that with Nibiru because that's his shtick. That's his whole thing is Nibiru, right? Well, Jake and Mari, realize the whole Nibiru thing is going to fizzle out pretty soon when it doesn't show up. So what are they going to do? They're going to take on a different thing. They're going to take on, we're all going into an ice age. That global warming is not real. That when the President Obama comes out and says the last 5 years have been the hottest year on record, he's lying to you. That's what Jake and Mari want you to believe. And they get this guy who calls himself Lee Wheelbarger, okay? He calls himself that. You see this image of a person that he says is Lee Wheelbarger, but you go and you follow him up on the internet and all his stuff, his footprint. Lee is his middle name, and he can't back up anything that he's saying. He talks about how he's had all these positions. He's had none of them. He's nobody. Uh, Jake's channel last night had 400 subscribers, and a bunch of those are socks because that's how it works, right? That's part of the game, and that's Lee's outlet is Jake Riley. All right, so that'll tell you something right there. Anyway, so here we are, and it's the end of August, and we're kind of right back to where we were. We have a bunch of fear porn out there, a bunch of people saying that, the world's coming to an end. You need to watch our channel because we're going to tell you the truth. And then you got these guys like myself. They're like, no, you're being lied to. All right, dedicating parts of their lives to getting the truth out. Not truth with a capital T and a registered trademark symbol on it. All right, that's what you're going to get from Alex Jones. That's what you're going to get from Jake and Mari. That's what you're going to get from Scott Cohn and WSO. You're going to get this thing packaged as truth because they want your views. All right, they're monetized. I'm not monetized. Logan's not monetized. Waptek's not monetized. And we're going to continue to do what we do. We just had this little hiccup. There was a hiccup in the community. What did it do? There's two things. There's two things that happened within the last 12 months in this community that were positive and that we can build from. One of them is exposure to each other. We all know that we're out there. We know who Waptek is. I mean, I remember telling people, you gotta watch Waptek, you gotta watch Waptek. I mean, this is like the winter of 2016, the late winter of 2016. People don't listen or watch the Waptek. Dazza does. I mean, the people that know do, but who's Waptek? Who's Logan running? I mean, who are these people? All right, now they're known a lot more than they were. Waptek's up over 2,000 subs. Lots of people watching Logan. That's a positive thing, and we're all watching each other. I know who you are, you know who I am. I know who Sarah Smiles is, and I know who Her husband is. And thankfully, I know who NFF really is. I know who Jake and Mari are. I know who the members of Troll are. I didn't know them before. Now I know them. We all know each other to a certain extent. We don't have to be a part of a group to do this anymore. In fact, I'm not really into the group thing. I think Slack's cool, and Troll, I think that's cool. I think it's good to have that type of thing, but we don't have to have it that way. In fact, I'm talking to a guy right now where we're talking back and forth about some of the videos that each of us are making going after these people, and I have sneaking suspicion I know who it is, and it's somebody that I've like it's a sock, and but I don't care. We're on the right side. We were always on the right, correct side of it. We were always on the same side. We just had differences of opinion. But we're stronger than we were. That's the other thing. We know who we are. We've got exposure now, and we're stronger than we were when this started, and we know what it's like when we get attacked. And the big red flag that you should get when you should see this red flag pop up over the top of people's heads when you're talking to them or watching their channel is when they want you to back off the debunking. Phil Rathmahoney, which is Jake Riley, released the documents of Scott Cohn. Jake and Mari have had the most negative influence on this community, and the videos of them, the way they talk about people and go after people, and then they'll turn around like last night with Jake's live show and talk about how we just all want to get along, we just want peace and love, and we don't want to be like these guys, we don't want to go after people, we don't want to dox people. I mean, it's just funny. I mean, hopefully somebody comes around and puts a better video together. That's just my scoop on the whole thing. Where we're at now is Waptec is stronger than he ever was. Logan is stronger than he ever was. We're all stronger than we ever were. And Jake and Mari and NFF are exposed for who they are. You did a good job, guys, but it backfired, and it always backfires when people try to do this stuff, because truth, the thing about truth is what we always used to say in Troll. It's what we always used to say all the time. When you stand behind the truth, you don't have to, there's no work involved. It's obvious. It's right there in front of them. The fear porn people are the people that have to go in and try to subvert things. They have to go in and try to get you to doubt your own eyes, get you to doubt your own government, get you to doubt your own scientists. So we're on the winning side. The thing is about this whole about being being a debunker, and people saying, oh, NASA's going to lie to you. And there are some good debunkers that I've already mentioned that believe NASA has lied to us. There are certain members of this community that I have high respect for that don't believe we ever went to the moon, and that's fine. Whatever. But anytime somebody tells you don't believe what everybody else is believing, that's when you got to start questioning it. Stephen King said, whenever a school comes to you and bans books and gives you a list of books that you shouldn't read, you need to run to your library and read those books first, and that's the truth. Truth stands on its own. It doesn't need anybody's help.